Hey everyone, welcome to today's show. I have a great episode for you. In today's episode, we are talking about how everyone, all of you out there and everybody you know can have a Ranger mindset. They can have a Special Operations Forces mindset. It's the same mindset that goes through Rangers, SEALs, Green Berets, all that. It's the mindset of don't quit, even when quitting feels like the best option out there, right? That mindset isn't just for elite soldiers. It's a tool any one of you can use to push through life's toughest moments. It's about staying in the fight mentally, even when your body, your circumstances, or the world around you are screaming at you to quit. That doesn't mean you ride a bad idea to the end. What it means is when you're facing difficult circumstances, you double down and you have to make it happen. You, your family, your friends are all relying on you. That type of mindset is not locked away behind some military service or extreme toughness. It's available to everyone. You just have to be willing to buckle down and use it when the time comes. Now, there was a lot that went into being a Ranger, but the biggest part was mindset. You don't need to earn a beret to have it. The Ranger mindset isn't reserved, like I said, just for special operations. It's a mental tool every person can tap into when the chips are down. It's a choice, and it's one you can make anytime things get tough. Sure, you need to be in great physical shape, and when you're in the Rangers and when you're going through selection, just like in all the services, they push you past your physical ability mattering anymore. Ultimately, it was about not quitting, especially when quitting was, like I said earlier, at least in my case, exactly what I wanted to do some days, a lot of times during some days, right? Especially going through selection. That same mindset applies to you. It applies to prepping for major problems. Now, you may want to quit, but there may be too much riding on you doing your best. Your family, your friends, your loved ones, just you and your circumstances. You can't just buckle under. You can't just give up. Even if the struggle is like trudging through mud, you buckle down and you have to do it sometimes. Now, some folks might be thinking that I'm speaking about cataclysmic SHTF events right now. And yes, mindset matters there too, but it applies to everyday life. Think about the stories of people who have broken down or for whatever reason become stranded out in the wilderness, and they're not exactly wilderness people. They've had to figure it out. Maybe they've had to walk for miles to get somewhere. Maybe they had to ration their water. There's all kinds of things that have gone in to where people had to make a Herculean effort, aka Ranger effort. If you look up Hercules, Herculean, anything like that, the synonym is always Army Ranger. Remember that. So those people made a Ranger effort to save their family, to save themselves, to save the day in the situation. Think about people in cities who had to punch above their weight class when fighting off an attacker. Do you remember a couple of years ago, the woman who was pushing the stroller down the alley with her baby in it and a car intentionally swerved to hit them, and at the last minute she lifts the stroller up and out of the way and she does the flop on the hood of the car so she doesn't take the full impact? That was a Ranger effort. We all have it in us. Think about the person caring for a loved one, right? Through years of chronic illness and struggles, that person that goes to work every day, maybe they work a second job because their health insurance doesn't cover down on their loved one's expenses, and they're caring for their loved one at night. Think about all those. We know those family members that have had that happen to them, or friends that have had family members with that. Those people are putting in a Herculean Ranger effort, right? All of those people succeed by tapping into the Ranger mindset, leaning into it and overcoming the suckfest that they were stuck in. That's what matters. And once people realize that it is in all of us, the question then becomes, how do we tap into it when it matters most? Now, let's talk about my time as a Ranger. I want to clear one thing up first. I was an average Ranger. Like, there are Ranger legends out there that are just like bigger than life. I mean, these people are just, wow, I love them. They are just some dedicated, true, hard as woodpecker lips Americans. But even though I wasn't a Ranger legend, I was a good one, and I learned from some incredible Rangers like Sergeant Major retired now Burt Puckett. One of my buddies in Ranger Regiment at the time, Paul Oakes, had a huge influence on me. He was a great Ranger. Aaron Williamson, my squad leader in 3rd Ranger Battalion. Guys with can-do attitudes and the drive to do the impossible. Right before I got out, I was a fire team leader in the 75th Ranger Regiment. It's something I'm proud of. I loved it. It's a high point in my life. Now, my first exposure to the Ranger mindset was a little bit wild, right? I first met the Ranger mindset in basic training. At the time, I was a squad leader, basically the military version of a hall monitor, right? When you're in basic training, they assign squad leaders right away, and they put somebody, usually it's someone that's a little bit older. I went into the Army at 25 because I'd worked as a firefighter and paramedic before that. And so it's usually somebody a little bit older who's put in charge of an area to make sure it gets cleaned every day. Well, I had the latrines and the showers. Now, as a basic training squad leader, you don't get any perks with that. It's all downside, right? Our job, again, was cleaning the latrines. This meant that every morning after PT, I had to make sure that a bunch of recently turned military people, still kind of civilians really, most of them just got out of high school, I had to make sure that they cleaned the showers and the toilet so they are inspection ready every morning for the drill sergeant, and that they met the drill sergeant standards. And spoiler alert, most of them, being just out of high school, they were terrible at cleaning bathrooms and cleaning toilets. They just weren't in it. Thankfully, I'd already been a rookie firefighter at a busy headquarters station and knew how to clean a toilet. Like I was good at it. I cleaned a bunch of toilets as a rookie firefighter. Well, I was good at it, or so I thought, until my first morning inspection, right? My drill sergeant, a former Ranger with a Bronze Star for Valor, inspected our toilets in a way that, I don't know, I'll never forget it, right? He didn't just look them over. He walked up to the toilet, stood at parade rest, which for those who weren't in the military, your feet shoulder width apart, your back straight, your eyes fixed forward, right? You're not moving. You got your hands behind your back with the palms of your hands crossed in the small of your back. And you're standing there at it's called the position of parade rest. He walks up to the toilet, snaps to the position of parade rest, and then bends over, like hinges at his waist, and bends over and sticks his entire head into the toilet. Like, I think that the top of it may have gotten wet with toilet water. And he proceeds to look up at the inside of the rim to make sure there weren't any little turd splatters on there. So, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, this man just stuck his head in the toilet. And he did that one after another. Now, thankfully, I figured like the first morning that they're looking to make an example of somebody. So I really gave those toilets a once over. They were clean. He didn't come up looking like he just wrestled the Hershey bar. So everything worked out pretty well. And from there, it taught me that, wow, those Rangers just do things a little different. They have a little higher expectation in how they go about things. So that moment taught me something I'd never really knew before, that there's another gear to OCD. There's Ranger level. There's Special Operations Forces, attention to detail and commitment, but it's there for everyone. And that's where the Ranger mindset lives. That's why I think it's important for everybody to understand we can always dig a little deeper. We can always try to do a little better. So one thing that we have to do is when times get hard and we're not going to quit, we need to reframe the pain and suffering that we're going through, the pain and struggle, right? The mindset really revealed itself to me, the Ranger mindset, during RIP, Ranger Indoctrination Program. That was a selection course for the 75th Ranger Regiment. It was 3 weeks of low sleep and high suck. Think Navy Hell Week, but in Georgia's woods with fire ants instead of surf. RIP was one big opportunity to quit, and many did. I don't blame them. Some ended up stationed in Europe and Italy or really nice places. I found myself staying in Columbus, Georgia with fire ants. So the whole RIP experience, going to the Ranger selection, it all started with a duffel bag sprint from airborne school. You're standing out in front of airborne school. You're all happy. You're like, wow, I graduated basic training. I just became airborne qualified. Like, I'm ready for D-Day. You're up here.
Get the sand out of your weapon. Keep those actions clear. We'll see you on the beach.
And it's everybody, like 100, 200, 300, whatever airborne students that just graduated are out there. And then everybody gets quiet because most people are hugging their parents. this group of Rangers in like just immaculate uniforms. They look like something off the cover of Soldier of Fortune meets Iron Man magazine, right? And they come walking up, everybody gets quiet, and man, it's like they don't yell. It's just like grab your stuff and get in formation, and you can detect this intensity off them. It's like, oh, this is going to get real now. Like, I thought I was great with airborne school. Guess not. And you're not. And then they proceed to have everyone sprint, basically, from there about 3/4 a mile down the road to the selection compound, the RIP barracks that they have. And when they get there, they start doing things like they tell everybody to get down and they start doing push-ups. And they tell you, hey, it's only going to get tougher than that sprint because people were just dying on the sprint carrying a couple of duffel bags with them. And now you got people trying to do push-ups with duffel bags on their back. It's a total mess. And they tell you it's only going to get worse. And then they proceed to have you do push-ups. And they tell you, like, we're doing push-ups until 10 people quit. Once they get 10 people to quit, then they have you roll over and they start having you do flutter kicks until 10 people quit. Right? During that first week, my strategy was simple. Just make it longer than the next guy. I mentally said, I'm not going to quit before 10 guys quit. Like, I'm going to want to quit. I was just going to make it longer than the next guy. And then it went on to like, all right, let me make it through this day. Like once you hit noon, 1 o'clock, it's like, let me just make it through this day. Because usually at night, I mean, it was pretty long days. And usually at night, you'd get a couple hours rack. And it was like, just make it to the rack session. That was usually my goal at one point during the day. I kind of always set little goals for me. Sometimes the goal was just make it 1 more minute, 1 more second, 1 more step to that next tree down the road, right? Again, I broke it into pieces I could manage. That was part of the Ranger mindset. Just don't deal with all the suck at once. Just deal with what's right in front of you. It's like the old phrase, how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time, right? That same strategy applies when life drops you into a mental meat grinder of loss, illness, disaster, right? That leads to another tool I leaned on. One that surprisingly I think is effective when you're in deep, right? The ability to mentally check out on purpose. When you're in there deep and man, you're trudging along and it's like, I need a break. Taking a mental break is good. It lets you not focus on the pain. It lets you not focus on the situation at hand, but still muddle through it if you have to. Again, I talked about breaking the day in pieces, right? Make it to your next checkpoint. And in there, you can check out in a good way. So on long road marches, endless PT sessions, we're talking like after I graduated RIP and I got to the barracks, man, that first night that some Spec 4, some E4 Mafia guy saw me in the barracks and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just, doing my thing. That was an 8-hour smoke session, just 8 hours of hard PT in a hallway. So what do? Your body has to keep going, but you mentally check out. I was aware of what was happening around me, but my mind would always go somewhere else. I'd make up like funny stories about the person, or I did what I did back when I swam and I used math, specifically long division, because back in college, I was a distance swimmer, right? I swam the backstroke, but I had to fill in on another event. And so usually I got stuck swimming the mile. Well, it's the swimming version of the mile, 1,650 meters. I don't know, about 80 meters or something shy of a full mile, which is 66 laps in the pool. And it sucked. There's no muscling through that. It requires mindset too. So I'd pass the time, right, as I'm staring at the bottom of this pool, 66 laps. It usually takes about 20-ish minutes. I'm staring at the bottom of the pool. I'd start solving math problems in my head, division problems, 1-digit division. Then I'd work up to 2, then 3, and I'd try to get how many, digits can I divide and that I can keep track of. Because when you're trying to divide, right, part of the thing when you do it in your head, the difficulty I have is keeping track of where all the numbers are, and I forget what numbers, and I'd have to start over. That kept my brain busy in a positive way while my body sucked and did the work. And it still kept me enough in the game that I could monitor what was going on around me. So I knew when, hey, this guy's pushing, this person's slacking off, and whatever, to maintain that pace so he can finish a mile-long race. That same mental trick, checking out to endure something awful, that helped me get selected to be a Ranger, and it's helped me get through a lot of difficult days since. It can help all of us get, again, you don't have to be a special operations soldier to have that mindset. It's one of the simplest, most reliable mindset tools I've ever had, checking out and doing all that stuff. So that's how I learned to push through pain with mental tricks, and it's the same mental endurance we all need when things go sideways, whether that's a multi-day power outage or caring for a loved one with a long-term illness, a long-term problem. So With all that, what does a Ranger mindset mean for you? It means that while you may not have the physical fitness of a 20-something-year-old Ranger, you can still adopt their mindset, right? I don't have that fitness anymore, but I still can tap into that mindset. That mindset doesn't rely on how many push-ups you can do. It relies on you refusing to give up. It relies on you saying, hey, I'm going to lean into this, even though leaning into it is painful. It's hurt. Like, this is not easy. It's the student working a second job to get through college. It's the caregiver pulling back-to-back shifts at home and work. It's you taking care of your family in a storm, like you're going out in the middle of the night to take care of the house so something happens. It's you prepping. It's you doing all that work. It's the person who keeps moving forward no matter how difficult it is. They lean into it. Mindset is the foundation of preparedness. If you listen to me at any length of time, you know that's my gig. It's the foundation of the survival pyramid. Everything comes from that. It decides how we'll use everything we got. It decides how we interact with the world around us. It decides how we hold up under stress and whether we give up or not when plans fail, when times are difficult. So here's the question I have for you. When has your mindset carried the day? I want to hear about it down in the questions. We've all had times where we've had to buckle down and our mindset carried the day. Tell me about it in the comments. Maybe you can help inspire some other people. Maybe you can give me some new ideas about, hey, here's how mindset works. I love reading and learning from other people's experiences. Speaking of mindset, if you don't have the Mind for Survival book already, please head over to Amazon and get it. Brian Duff, Mind for Survival. It's a great book. It's not your typical doom and gloom book. You'll love it. And with that, everybody, as always,